Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about international cannabis, specifically in South Korea and Thailand, as well as how to invest in cannabis, as well as how it differs from other investment sectors. On the line with us is Dan Kimmis, our CBD correspondent with Good CBD Products.
I love this podcast.
I do too. So starting off with a Zero Hedge report on the Asian tigers emerging as global medical cannabis leaders. The article goes on to report from the Brightfield Group that the total market is set to surpass almost $40 billion in the next 4 years, quadrupling the $10 billion it made last year in 2018. So according to the Brightfield Group, the CBD market in the U.S. is set to reach a total $24 billion by 2023. And so no better time than now to look at other areas that maybe have opportunities. And so they look at the legalization of medical marijuana and CBD products as beginning to kind of grow this global commodity crop for domestic and international production and medical research. So it says that while South Korea has legalized medical cannabis for limited medical use, it has still not embraced the commercial market. So South Korea and Thailand are the only Asian countries making major strides to integrate its medical cannabis and associated products into their medical sectors.
It's a lot of people, right? And this is the thing. We feel it on the ground. You can feel the general pace of business re-accelerating, and, you can see it in the gleam of the eye of the entrepreneur. It's definitely, there's a rush going on, brother.
It's a good sign. South Korea has an amazing international market, especially with medical products. And so whether it's a transdermal patch or maybe a CBD, facial mask or creams or otherwise, South Korea has a huge influence in the Southeast Asian market. And so what the Japanese will probably do is emulate that. They'll put it in Hollywood films and use it. And then a lot of other Southeast countries will jump on that bandwagon, including Thailand. You'll have Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam, Indonesia. All those countries kind of look to Japan as like the Hollywood, whereas they get their influence, the Japanese get their influence from the South Koreans, but yet a lot of it is then outsourced to Thailand. And so ultimately, the success of cannabis products in North America is going to indicate the future of trade with, other countries in Asia. We're seeing that with the World Trade Center already. Their e-commerce store we're developing here in Tacoma, Washington, to have a tab specifically for CBD products, and that's getting a lot of attention in Asia. So, looking at the future of CBD in Asia, the challenges facing future CBD products are mostly associated with the cannabis's old age stigma. So it's extremely harsh penalties for recreational use of marijuana. But medical marijuana growth is still illegal in a lot of the Asian countries, but several hurdles exist to deploy at least CBD oil. So the astronomical success of the CBD market in the US and Canada is not only building Asian interest, but also changing the scope of the medical marijuana markets as the region chooses to locally produce the plant. So a lot of promise for domestic economic growth in Asia, like places like Thailand, that's a catalyst for CBD oil in the markets. It's still early, but they're harnessing the booming market alongside countries like Australia and Canada, US, Germany, Israel, and recognizing the diverse potential healing capabilities of cannabis oil throughout Thailand.
You're talking about whole countries, right? And when you're talking about whole countries, you're talking about whole populations, significant numbers. And this is the thing. Some of these places have rules that, you go away for a long time for trafficking, if you will. And at the same time, the thing that's been really interesting to watch is when those boundaries come down, the people who are positioned early, right?
Exactly. And I know a guy that tried to go out to Thailand and do it, and he was probably too early, lost about 80, 90,000 on that project, ended up moving it to Cambodia and is slow to kind of grow it back. So there's a little bit of issues out there. It's still early, Still in that development stage, but nonetheless kind of exciting to see places like Thailand that would put you in jail or even, capital punishment for a plant like cannabis. So it's nice to see that things are overturning and that there's going to be international trade, because a lot of what we're seeing in the normal markets with China, their manufacturing is outsourced to places like Vietnam and Thailand. So when they get too busy, the Chinese will then delegate, if you will, to other areas. And so seeing, the Thai and the South Koreans already jumping on board, that's going to lead a lot of interest from the Chinese capital for medical products and brands in South Korea, as well as the agricultural side and derivatives in Thailand. So I just expect the Chinese to kind of gobble up what they've already been doing with real estate, and you see them kind of expanding in the whole continent of Africa. So it's kind of interesting how it kind of ties into just regular sectors. So this other article goes into how cannabis investing is different from other sectors, when really it's kind of the same. You have technical indicators, you're looking at the movement and price. There's fundamental indicators. So you're looking at just price and bottom line, just the basic fundamentals. And outside of that, you can look at cannabis in different factors. So the article goes on to say that not every publicly listed and traded company in the US and Canada is operating legally. And maybe that's the difference between like a Pink Sheets or over the counter and a big trading platform like the NASDAQ or the Canadian Stock Exchange, is peace of mind, knowing that they're on that board and they have people that are holding them accountable rather than just an over-the-counter stock. I mean, that's rule number one. That's peace of mind. Without peace of mind, you can't move forward to the next one. So when investors considering investing in cannabis, there's some different factors to be aware of. First, the legality of the company that they're investing in. So again, not every publicly listed traded company is operating legally, and there's a lot of volatility in this space. So betting on one or two names is probably not as good as owning a whole basket. We've talked about exchange traded funds or ETFs being a little bit better opportunities so that you can kind of take advantage of the increase as it goes up, but being, hedge against any loss as one company might dip. And then another thing that investors should look out for is just how diversified the company's revenue stream is. We've seen a lot of deals like Canopy where they throw those deals together, but they don't generate any revenue, right? So that's why Canopy Growth CEO was let go, is because he was great at putting deals together and yet not a whole lot of revenue.
Yeah, what kind of deal? Again, how hard is it to put together deals that have no money behind them? My gosh, this is the thing. Again, what you really should be held accountable to is, are we growing? Are we making money? And so much of the cannabis industry right now, if you go look, behind the curtain, what you see is a bunch of revenue-starved companies that really need to get it together.
There's a lot of expenses right now. There's a lot of burn right now, and it's about scaling and automating and expanding. But without revenue coming in, some of these shareholders will hold you accountable. We're already seeing some of those lawsuits. So with that, stay tuned. We're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is a Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.